Are you looking to get your first cloud architect job? If so, this video is for you. Hi, my name is Michael Gibbs and I'm the founder and CEO of Go Cloud Architects, and we're an organization dedicated towards building high-performance cloud computing careers. I've been working in technology now for over 25 years, and I've been coaching and mentoring others to get their first tech job or promoted in tech for over 2 decades now. And today we're going to talk about my favorite topic, how to get a cloud architect job. See, the current environment is really challenging for new people without experience to get cloud architect jobs, but don't worry. We have 20 years experience in helping people find their first tech job, and we're willing to tell you exactly what you need to do to get hired so we can help you too. But before we tell the solution, we need you to understand the problem. We need you to understand why it's so hard for people without experience to actually get a cloud architect job. See, when you understand the problem, you'll understand the solution. And as soon as you understand the solution, you'll know exactly what you need to do to be hired. And we want to do everything we can to help you build your cloud computing career. So here's what's going on. The cloud computing revolution changed everything in the technology space. The cloud simplified things by at least 80%. Things were enormously complicated 10, 15, 20 years ago. Enormously complicated. And the cloud solved that by being a basic virtual data center and a virtual network, and it's managed almost for you. What you actually have to do in the cloud is so minimal compared to what you used to, which is why organizations love the cloud. And those of us that have been in tech a long time, network architects like me, as well as other types of architects, saw the cloud and said, wow, this is incredible. So we left our worlds and we went straight to the cloud. And when we went straight to the cloud, a lot of amazing things happened. Our customers succeeded, their revenues increased, they offered new services, and their expenses went down. And because we were so successful of helping our clients on the cloud, every business said, wow, we need to go to the cloud, which is wonderful. Businesses started hiring. There is a massive, massive shortage of qualified cloud computing personnel, so salaries keep going up. See, it's the same law of supply and demand. If supply is low and demand is high, salaries are high. So what happened here is a tremendous number of people started to try and get cloud architect jobs, and they started to go what they thought was cloud architect training, but it wasn't. Most people started getting cloud training, and when the cloud training was, it was vendor training, it was certification, like an AWS Certified Solution Architect Associate or an AWS Certified Solution Architect Professional. And don't get me wrong, these are great certifications, but they do not prepare you even the slightest bit for these cloud architect jobs. So don't worry, we'll tell you how to do it. But I want you to understand how and why. See, certification training teaches you the name of a service and how to configure it. And that's great. The name of the service and how to configure it. This is an S3 bucket. Here's how you set it up. But, and here's the big but, it doesn't teach you what you're moving to the cloud or what these systems are. So before we actually talk about this, let's pretend you trained a doctor and you said, here's the name of the pills and here's the dosages. And just that. You told the doctor, here's the name of the pills and there's dosages. And when the next patient came into the doctor's office, they didn't know how to ask the patient, what's bothering you today? They didn't know how to examine the patient, and they didn't know how to diagnose the patient, but all they knew is, here's a pill and here's a dose. Well, obviously that would not work in a doctor. If a doctor couldn't diagnose you, then they wouldn't even know which pill to give you in the first place. It's great that they know the pill and the dosages, but it would be meaningless information for a physician. So let's pretend you're a cloud architect. What do you have to do as a cloud architect? You've got to meet with that client, and you've got to figure out what their business strategy is, their legal and their regulatory requirements. And from there, you've got to design a solution. But to design a solution, you need to understand the following things. You need to baseline the performance of the current organization systems, and this is not provided in certification training. It doesn't teach you how to design a solution to optimize a company's business process in certification training. It's just not there, nor is it meant to be. It doesn't teach you how to obtain the business, legal, and technical requirements, the business acumen, and the communication skills. It's not part of certification training. So certification training is, realistically speaking, not enough for most people to get their first job, unless they have this knowledge from somewhere else. In fact, we say that certification training is about 10% of the process. Don't worry, we're going to tell you the remaining 90%. And yes, certification training is important, and we'll tell you why. So now let's discuss the other 90% so you know exactly how to get cloud architect hired. First, we're going to talk about the cloud. So you must understand the cloud. In order to be a cloud architect, you're going to be designing things from the network and the data center and migrate them to the cloud. So you need to understand the network and the data center, which is the cloud. So a cloud is just really a virtualized network and a data center. So once you understand the network and the data center, everything else is going to become super simple for you. So what does that all mean? What do you need to do to get these positions? First and foremost, you must learn networking. And networking is going to be really critical to do this. Now, we actually have a completely free AWS Advanced Networking course. I'll leave the link in the description below, but you must know networking. And if you really want to learn networking, the best place to do it is to go to Cisco Systems. They have some of the best documentation in the world. It will explain networking, routing protocols, NAT, VLANs, .1Q tagging, anything you need to know in the networking world, you can learn it all from Cisco, and it's completely free. And you know what? If you really want to boost your resume, that cloud architect resume, get Cisco certified like a CCNA or a CCNP or some type of Cisco design certification like a CCDP. You have something like this on your resume, and now you know networking. Guess what? That's half of the cloud. The cloud is just a virtualized network and data center, and that looks really good on a cloud architect resume with or without the certification. We'll talk more about that later. The next thing you need to know in the cloud is you need to know Linux. Now, I'm not going to say that as an architect, you're going to spend your whole life, at a command line or management console. You're not. You're a systems designer, but you need to know Linux. Why? Linux is the primary server operating system in the world, which means when you're going to be designing systems, they're going to be Linux. And how do you design a system that you don't understand? You can't. So there's two ways you can learn Linux. Option one is what I call Linux therapy, and I've used this successfully with clients for decades. Basically what you do is you take them, have their primary computer, you erase Windows or whatever operating system they're using, you back up the data first, you install Linux, and you work on Linux for 6 months, and that's the only operating system you deal with. And guess what? You start installing applications via the command line, start doing things from the terminal, and 6 months later you'll know Linux. That's the free, cheap way to do it. Option two, and if you really want to build a beautiful Linux portfolio, do option one, which we talked about, which is Linux therapy, and option two is take a Red Hat certification, like the RHCE. When you do this, now you've got strong Linux and strong networking background. So what is the cloud? A virtualized network in the data center. What are all the servers in the data center? Linux. What is the network? From Cisco, you learned it all. You're already there. You're part of the way there. Now you need to understand security because, you're dealing with a shared network. Security is absolutely critical, and security is critical no matter what, which means that you should learn about firewalls and intrusion detection and intrusion prevention systems, malware protection. Guess what? You can find that free too. And you can get that documentation from Cisco, Palo Alto Networks, Fortinet, lots of great documentation on security. Read it. This is documentation that's industry documentation. It's far more than the cloud providers provide. See, the cloud providers tell you what is service and how to configure, but you need to know what it is. So here's where you're getting your documentation, and it's all free. Now, for students in our program, we teach all of this, but if you're on your own, this is where you get your documentation. Now, you have to understand load balancers because they're big in the cloud. Where are you going to do this? You're going to go to the F5 website, and they have more free information on load balancers because they've been building load balancers for decades. And they will not only teach you what they are, how they work, and why you would use them, everything you need to know you can learn there, and guess what? It's all free. Now, you need to understand storage. Block storage, object storage, file storage. You know where you can learn that for free? From Dell. Here's how you can learn this kind of information. And now you need to understand virtualization because the cloud is a virtualized network in a data center. So, you can get it from VMware. Lots of free documentation explaining virtualization, type 1 hypervisors, type 2 hypervisors, containers. There you go. And as a cloud architect, you also need to know IAM. And guess where you can get this free? Microsoft. Lots of free documentation on IAM. So now you're getting a piece of the technical systems that you need to know. Now, students in our program get this training automatically, but if you're on your own, now you know where to get them for free. Now that you have a baseline knowledge of these technologies, now it's time to get some hands-on experience. Students of ours use our servers, but if you're not one of our students, don't worry, you can still do this at home. Here's what you need to do. Buy or borrow a Xeon server. It needs at least 16 cores and 128 gigs of RAM. Now that should be between 3 years old and 7 years old to have enough power, and make sure it's got some very fast rapid drives in there. So 16 cores with at least 128 gigs of RAM. Now on this server, I want you to basically learn how to do networking and data center work. So do the following. Set up VMware ESXi. All my students do it. Set up containers. Build Linux machines. Set up the LAMP stack, Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP. Build the Linux firewall. Set up a VPN server. Set up Windows Active Directory server and get really good at IAM. Set up a Samba server, which is basically a Linux machine that shares files with Windows systems. Set up NFS, or network file storage. These are the things that are going to teach you the network technologies and the data center technologies. And you can even install a free Cisco router simulator like EVE-NG. And you can practice your networking labs. And you can do all this in the comfort of your own home. Get real experience. And this is the kind of experience managers want. Now create a research and development section on your resume and put these things here. Because now it shows you've got experience, valid experience. Now that's not enough. Now you know the underlying technologies of the cloud. But you've got this great server, so do this. Build the cloud. All of our students build a cloud. Whether you build a Nutanix cloud or an OpenStack Ansible cloud, build your own cloud. Trust me, once you've built a cloud, you know every part of how the cloud works. You understand storage, compute, all of it. You're going to get it because you're going to build it from scratch. All of our students do. Now put that on your resume. Put every one of these experiences on your resume. Server virtualization, containers, LAMP stacks, firewalls, VPN servers, Active Directory servers, NFS. This is real experience. And then put down, build the cloud and talk about the cloud. Was it an OpenStack Ansible cloud? Was it a Nutanix cloud? Did you create a VPN and then tie that cloud to the AWS cloud or another cloud, creating hybrid cloud and multi-cloud solutions? Do it all. This is real experience. See, when other people go on interviews or on their resume and they say, I set up an S3 bucket, you can say, I built a cloud. Now, pretend you're the hiring manager. Who do you want to hire? Someone that can configure an S3 bucket or someone that can build a cloud? I don't know about you. I want the person with the competency to build a cloud. I can teach someone to configure an S3 bucket in less than 45 seconds. I want someone that can build a cloud. Now let's focus on certifications. Don't just get any certifications. Only get the certifications that matter. One of the most dangerous things that I see every day on people on social media saying, hey, what should my next certification be? No, we want you to get certifications and only the ones that matter because we care about your career. What do we recommend? First and foremost, we recommend skipping the AWS Cloud Practitioner entirely. Realistically speaking, there are no jobs prospects with this certification. And if this certification takes you 2 months to achieve and the average cloud architect earns $600 a day, the time you spent working on the Cloud Practitioner exam costs you literally around $24,000. So skip this exam. It doesn't provide any value for you. If you desire to be an architect of some kind, we recommend starting with the AWS Certified Solution Architect Associate. See, here's the thing. That exam and the Cloud Practitioner exam, the level of difficulty to learn them are about the same. And because they're about the same and there's really no opportunities with the Cloud Practitioner, we don't recommend you waste your time there. We want you to start directly with the Certified Solutions Architect Associate. Now that's your introductory level to cloud computing, and that's really all it is. It's an introductory to AWS. So when you pass this, if you want to be an architect, do not get SysOps or DevOps certifications, and here's the reason. SysOps is a maintenance position, and DevOps is a software automation position. And when you're designing an architecture as a cloud architect, you're a systems designer. You're not a maintenance person, and you're not a software release person. So don't waste your time here. Go straight to the Certified Solution Architect Professional. We view the AWS Certified Solution Architect Professional as the minimum level of certification to begin working because of what happened. Now, realistically speaking, this was not always the case. We used to love the Certified Solution Architect Associate, but there are so many exam dumps that are out there and so many courses that are designed to teach you the name of the service and how to pass the exam that you can literally pass these exams and really not know what you're doing, and that lowered the value of this wonderful certification. So because of that, the Certified Solution Architect Professional is probably your minimum level for the cloud certification. Now, we need to determine what kind of cloud architect you desire to be. If you want to be a generic cloud architect, we strongly recommend something like a CCNA or CCNP along with an RHCA or an RHCE. Some kind of good Linux and some kind of good networking certification. Why? Because if you got the cloud and you get the network and you get the infrastructure side of the server side with Linux, you pretty much know how to do most things. And that is a brilliant certification portfolio, a CCNP, AWS Certified Solution Architect Professional, and a Red Hat certification. That is a beautiful cloud architect resume. But let's say you wanted to be a cloud security architect. That's great too, and that's a fantastic specialty, and we build a lot of them. We still want that Certified Solution Architect Professional because that's kind of your minimum level, entry level cloud certification in today's world. But now we need a security certification. We're going to skip things like the Security Plus. We're going to skip the AWS Advanced Security. We're going to go for the big certs. We're going to go for the things that make your resume stand out that say, I need to hire you. And we're going to work on something like the CISSP or the CEH or the Offensive Security Professional, because we want big security certifications. The kind that people, when they see them, they say, wow, this person already understands security. So when we mix that with the Certified Solution Architect Professional, which is a professional level certification, one of these security certifications, now you're great. And now you've got something that's going to look really good on your portfolio. Especially if you're dealing with these certifications in the industry, because they are deep, they are knowledgeable. I'd like to put it into context. When I became a Cisco certified internet expert, there was about 75,000 pages of reading just to pass this exam. Compare that with approximately 500 pages of reading for a Certified Solution Architect Professional. So these big industry certifications from, say, Cisco or from Red Hat, they do a lot to build up your portfolio. Not only do a lot to build up your portfolio, they make you understand the network and the data center. So you're now in a position to meet with clients and take their systems from their data centers and migrate them to the cloud, because that's what cloud architects do in most of the time. Next on the list of getting your first cloud architect job is we've got to clean up your social media profiles, if you've got them. We look at your social media profiles, because employers will, and make sure that you have nothing unflattering. No partying, nothing inappropriate, nothing where you don't look in your best light. Now, if you've got anything, literally anything associated to money, politics, or religion, and you are not clergy, a politician, or a political operative, do not have any of this on your resume. Get rid of it instantly. This is the worst thing for your career. And I'm going to explain to you why. Effective teams of people, and as a cloud architect, you're going to be working in big teams. Some of these people, for example, will be a cloud architect. You may have a cloud IAM person. You may have a cloud security person. You may have a cloud DevOps person, a cloud SysOps person, some cloud engineers. All of this is going to be in a team. And guess what? Everybody's going to be from different backgrounds and think differently. Now, if you've got something political that says, I don't like liberals or I don't like conservatives, what did you do? You just lost 50% of the people in the room. Now, that means 50% of hiring managers may think differently within you. That means you lost 50% of all job opportunities. Don't do this. But that's not even the problem. So let's say you could tolerate losing 50% of all job prospects. I can't, but let's say you could. What happens when you basically have a post that basically says, I don't like people that are different than me? You've proved to the hiring manager they can't hire you, because a good team is going to be diverse with people from all walks of life and all backgrounds, and that's how you're going to think of good solutions. If we all thought the same, what would happen? We'd all design the same solution. There'd be no creativity. And organizations know that. So if you've got anything on your resume that says, I don't like certain people that are different than me, or they're dumb, or this or that, you lost 50% of the people, and now you lost most of the remaining people, because now we know you can't work with people that are different than you. So if you've got anything on your social media profile that's related to money, politics, or religion, remove it immediately. It's part of the getting hired process. Now let's discuss attitude, and this is one of those critical success factors. Organizations look for energetic, enthusiastic, passionate people that are willing to go above and beyond. So on your resume, we want you to put a research and development section that's going to list all those great things that you did. You're going to list building a cloud, you're going to list virtualization, you're going to list containers, you're going to talk about the LAMP stack, literally everything you did. Why? It's going to show you're willing to go above and beyond, something employers also love. But it's going to show you're energetic, enthusiastic, and passionate. Because while everybody else is learning how to set up an EC2 instance or an S3 bucket, you're building real skills. You went to the effort to go build a cloud. And not only does that make you more competent, it makes you have a better attitude and you're more motivated. And organizations love motivated people. So if you've done it, we recommend you put it on your resume. Now here's the secret. This is the most important part of getting hired as an architect or getting your first tech job. It is soft skills. I'm going to say it again. This is the secret weapon you have. Soft skills are critical. I have personally taken well over $50,000 of soft skills training, and it has paid dividends many, 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 many times over by offering me higher salaries, better job prospects, and career mobility like this. And without the soft skills training, that would not be possible. And when it's your first job, developing soft skills is more important than ever in your career. Here's why. As hiring managers, I don't say this person's got 20 years experience, I need to hire them. No, I interview people. And when I interview them, there's basically a candidate score, which is from 0 to 100%. And you know what that score is made of? 50% technical competency and 50% of these soft skills, emotional intelligence, empathy, enthusiasm, communication, and attitude. So look at that. 50% is non-technical. Ding, ding, ding. This is your gift. This is your secret weapon when it's getting your first cloud architect job. And here's why. Even with the best training, we can get our people to say a 35 to 40 out of 50 in terms of technical competency, because unless you have 20 years experience, that's the best you're going to do. But we can get our people to about 50 out of 50 on soft skills, emotional intelligence, and communication skills. Now that leaves a score of 85 to 90%. Now I'll tell you, I've interviewed over 5,000 technology professionals in my career, and I've only had 10 that scored above 65%. It's that bad. It's that hard to find someone that's qualified, because either they're not qualified technically or they can't communicate. So do this, master this, and you will come out on top. Soft skills are the secret weapon for getting hired, because when hiring managers like you, they're willing to hire you more, and they're willing to pay you more. And they're willing to look past things like lack of experience or lack of expertise in a certain area if you're going to be pleasant to work with. It's so much so that I have interviewed thousands of hiring managers in my career. Several of the hiring managers, I said, what do you look for in an accountant? They said, look, Mike, all I want is someone that can do the job that I can tolerate. If you can find me someone that can do the job, that can speak well, that can write well, that can present well, that's pleasant to be around and can bring out the best in others, I'll hire them every time and pay them whatever they want. He said, it's so hard to find that. He said, that's what I need. He said, but sometimes I just settle for people that can do the job that I can tolerate. And he said, trust me, hundreds of interviews to find one person that can even do that. And that's why we're trying to tell you the difference between certification and training. And guess what? You can all do it all. Every last one of you can be miraculously wonderful cloud architects. So just follow the recommendations. Make sure you work on your soft skills. This is a place where you really need to train. So make sure you're training your emotional intelligence. We train all our students with it. So if you're not with us, make sure you figure it out somewhere. Study leadership, because as a cloud architect, you're going to be leading a team constantly. You may not be an official manager, but you may sell a solution to a customer that you design for them and have a team of 16, 20, 30 people to build it. And you may have to lead them, and they don't work for you. So leadership skills are critical skills for the cloud architect. So study leadership. And you know what? If you're not training with us, study sales. Why? As an architect, you're going to have to design a solution. And then you're going to have to convince the customer it's the right solution. So you need to know sales. And where else do you need to know sales? The job interview. What is the job interview? There's a chance to sell yourself to the hiring manager of why they need you. So the next part that I would tell you, and we provide a lot of training for our students, but if you're on, that's fine. Interview training. Make sure you have good interview training and excellent interview skills. The interview is your chance to convince the hiring manager to hire you. Don't waste this opportunity. So unless you're part of a program like ours that has extensive interview preparation, practice this. Now on our website, there are approximately 20 videos, free videos to help you master the cloud architect interview or the solution architect interview to help you get your first cloud architect job. So they're there. But it still might be worth finding people that specialize in technical interviews to give you some practice interviews prior to your cloud architect interview. Here's why. In the US, the average cloud architect, for example, earns about $600 US per day. If it costs you $400 to pay an interview professional for prep and you get hired immediately, it's worth it. Why is it worth it? Let's say, for example, you didn't win the interview and it took you another 2 weeks to get hired. That's $6,000 of lost wages based upon the average cloud architect earnings. So make sure you master that interview. Train the interview process the whole time. Watch those 20 free videos that we've given you. And if you're not one of our students, make sure you pay an interview coach prior to important interviews, because we want you to get that cloud job. Every day you're not working is costing you at least $600 a day, so get hired. We want you to have wonderful cloud architect careers. We help people get cloud architect careers every day, and we've enlightened you to what we do with our students in our cloud architect career development program. Obviously, we love to work with you, but you can do these things on your own. We've let you know literally all the components of our system, or at least most of them. We have to keep some of our secrets back for our students. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'd like to tell you about some free things that we do. I'd like to invite you all to our Monday or Thursday session. And this is where we will give you a deep dive in how to get your first cloud architect job. We will tell you everything you need to do in this free webinar, and we will spend 1 hour after the webinar answering any questions you may have. And you know what? Come join us for the Cloud Architect Career Challenge on a Tuesday. It's free. And what we do on these is you will come onto these free sessions. We will present a situation to you, just like in a real environment. Then you will ask us questions, business, legal, technical, regulatory. What are our goals? And you will design a cloud architecture with other people on the call. And you will design it for 2 clouds, and you'll present it back to us just like you would as a real cloud architect, because that's the job, and we want you to know if you're job ready. Come to one of these sessions. You'll either know if you're ready to be hired, and if you're not ready to be hired, you'll know exactly what to do to be hired so you can begin your cloud architect journey. Now, most Wednesdays, but not all, we run a completely free Cloud Architect Career Question and Answer session on YouTube Live. So if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe and hit the bell to be informed of new notifications. Bring us any Cloud Architect career question you have and we will answer them real time. I'd like to let you know that we do what we can to provide certification help to the people in the Cloud Architect community. We have a completely free AWS Certified Solution Architect Associate ebook and course. The link is in the description below. We have a completely free AWS Certified Solution Architect Professional course. The link is in the description below. And because networking is so important, we have a completely free AWS Advanced Networking course. Again, the link is in the description below. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to participate in this Cloud Architect, Solution Architect community. I'm honored and privileged to be with you here. I'm honored and privileged to communicate with you via YouTube. It's a wonderful experience. Let us know anything we can do to help you in your Cloud Architect career, and we'll do anything we can for you. Thank you so much for watching this video, and we look forward to seeing you in another video.